Our next guest is right now in New York. Her name is Cheriann. She is a certified biomedical equipment technician in New York. Cheriann, good morning to you.
Morning and good morning, Barbados.
How are you doing?
I am doing well.
You are in a very high stressed city, sister, New
Yes,
York. Just finding your feet sometimes can really take the wind out of you. How long have you been there now?
I've been here since I started university in 2012.
Mm. So 2012 to now, that makes what, 9 years or thereabouts?
Yes, that's correct.
Oh, so you should know the place literally at like the back of your hand. You know every road network, you know every train, you should know
I
every
would,
turn.
I would not go that far. There are many turns in New York.
Exactly, I know how confusing what it can be when one road can look so similar to the other and then you're lost
That's
completely.
true.
But in terms of finding your way around, has it really been a challenge for you?
No, you get used to it after a while. You get used to the public transportation, and then
Hmm.
eventually you get used to driving, and you pick it up. You
You
have
know,
no
but
choice, really.
you have that right. You have no choice. But the road network in itself can be quite a nightmare. The way people use the roads in New York. How
That
are
is
your
true.
nerves today?
I'm a little nervous.
That's all right. But right now you're a biomedical equipment technician in New York. What's
Yes.
that?
I service and maintain and repair medical equipment in the hospitals
Mm.
in New York.
That's quite a job. So therefore you're an engineer of sort.
Yes, I am.
Fantastic. You're also in the middle of what was the center of the epidemic, the pandemic.
Yeah,
How was that
yes.
for you, that experience?
It was definitely very difficult. I can definitely say it felt almost like a nightmare you couldn't wake up from because
Mm.
as an essential worker, you have no choice but to be there in the middle of it all. But I had the support of my family and my husband, and I was able to make it through to this point. But it definitely took a toll because I wasn't expecting it to be such a horrific experience.
Mm. What made it horrific?
Because you're literally right there in the hospital every day. You know, you see the nurses crying in the hallways, and you see the patients being wheeled out after they've expired, and it's definitely something I'll never forget, and unfortunately not in a good way.
Yeah. Well, I wanted you to paint the picture simply because we are seeing rising cases here every day, large numbers of positive cases being reported. And it scares a lot of people, but sometimes a lot of people are not quite getting the message. And I wanted to hear from you, so those of us who sit here, who walk the roads every day, get a clear picture why we should avoid this rising to that particular level. A lot of what you do also, you repair ventilators.
Yes, we
So a ventilator in itself is so critical to one's life support.
do.
Talk to us a little bit about that and your work in that area.
I I've only been working on ventilators for the last 3 to 4 months, and I definitely there's obviously always a need, not as much as there was last year. But as you said, it's a high risk equipment, and this is something that the hospital always needs. It always needs to be up to date. They always need to be ready to go. So it's definitely high stress sometimes because ventilators cannot be down and out of repair for an extended period of time. So you have to keep on the ball at all times. But it's also very rewarding knowing that I'm a backbone. I'm one of the backbone people that make sure the hospital is always kept running and people are always being taken care of as best as we can.
This experience for you in New York, what has it taught you about yourself?
It's definitely taught me perseverance. Because obviously when you go into working in healthcare, you obviously don't think to yourself, well, I'm ready for the next pandemic. It definitely was not on my radar at 18 years old when I picked this as my career. So it definitely taught me that I can withstand a lot more than I think I can, and that there is always light at the end of the tunnel, and once you have a great support system, you can pretty much do the best you can.
In terms of that support system, though, home is still home, family is still
Home is still
family,
home.
and though you're married and you're living there, you have family here. So how do you keep that
Yes.
support system strong between yourselves, that connection indeed between yourselves there and here?
Well, I talk to my mom every day. Hi, mom. And She definitely is one of the people that keeps me grounded, and I talk to my brother and my dad as well on a regular basis. And we're very very close knit family, all of us, including my extended family. We call each other. So with technology these days, it honestly you get used to it. Obviously, I've been here living here for a while, but with video calling and stuff, sometimes it feels like I'm right there with them. They keep me informed of everything that's going on.
Of course, that's the way we do it here. So when last were you home?
I was home just in August. I was
Oh,
home in
really?
August, which was fun. My mother kept me very busy,
So did you get any conkies to take back up with you?
always, every time.
So I could tell you're a conky girl indeed. So what other Bajan foods while there in New York do you love to consume?
While in New York, over the years I've like picked up like where I can find certain things. Luckily, I live
Hmm.
next to a market that has a lot of Caribbean stuff, so I'm still able to get mobby. I'm still able to get, pepper sauce,
Yes.
guava jam. I love all those things. So I'm so happy I live somewhere that I can get those things still.
Uh-huh. And of course, you can't have your Sunday meal without some plantain and everything else,
Of
right?
course. Yes, I
Sister.
can find that pretty much anywhere here
In
now.
the markets, right? Indeed.
Yes.
In terms of being able to be as Barbadian as you'd love to be, how difficult or not is that for you in New York?
You can definitely find pockets of community of Bajan people here. I live further out in Long Island, so it's a little bit more difficult now that I don't
Hmm.
live in the city. But there's always Caribbean parties that I can go to if I want to feel that atmosphere again. And if I'm feeling like really like I need to like get that Bajan feeling, I just hop on a plane and I go home.
Great idea. Now, us in the Caribbean, we are very spiritual. We grow up, we go to church, we do all of those kinds of things. How is it in terms of practicing your faith in New York, Long Island?
It's not that difficult. I mean, I grew up in the Catholic Church, so there are Catholic churches a lot around here, but everything is now on Zoom now to protect everyone. So it's not exactly the same. I definitely miss going to church, and my favorite part of church was always the music. So I definitely still miss that because it's not the same here.
Yeah. Do you take some time in your day at any given time throughout the number of years you've been there to stop and think of, if I were home in Barbados, I could do this. I wish Barbados would do that. Do those kinds of
Mhm.
thoughts trigger in your head from time to time?
Yes, they do sometimes, but Barbados is unique that, the way that things are done, you you sometimes you just don't want to change them, because it's just the way it is. And New York is very fast paced and, everyone's always going, going, going. So in that respect, I would not want to change the way Barbados is at all. I love the slow pace and I love that everyone's always relaxed and very friendly. I won't change that for the world.
Where's your favorite place in Barbados to relax?
Any beach, really. Any beach, I can lie down and have a good book. I'm great. I'm good.
So where in Barbados is your family really? Your mom and everyone else?
We are in Lowlands Park, Christchurch.
Ah, up there in Christchurch. So the whole area is watching now to watch their little girl on TV right now
Oh,
celebrating who you
this.
are.
Yes, I'm sure my mother has shared it with every human being that she knows that I will be on TV this day.
Your husband, is he Barbadian or Caribbean?
Oh no, he's American,
He's
born
American.
and
So,
raised in Brooklyn.
all right. So how do those cultures come together? What does he understand more about you now and our culture?
I guess he visits with me whenever I go home, and I feel like he picks up more and more, and it always surprises me whenever we come back and he's like, I really need to get some sweet bread, or I really want my sweet bread and cheese, and we should have some plantain this week. So you're always surprised by those small things that start to occur in your relationship where he's like, oh, I need this now. I need like some coconut water. I'm just looking at him like, who are you? You're not who I married. And he's like, well, I married a Caribbean lady. I married a Bajan. And I'm just like,
There you
okay, so
go.
get the sweet bread.
Are there times when you find it so much easier to say it in the Bajan way that you just say
Mhm.
it in the Bajan way? He goes like, "What did you just say?"
That happens all the time. I think he said he's going to write a book. He said I did not know there was so many sayings that a Bajan could have. And I was like, yes, and I'm sure I have many more. And he loves them. starts to say them to his friends. It's
Yes, yes.
hilarious.
So you're teaching him as well. Tell him to write the book. I'd love to read it. I'd love to see what he
You would.
hears from us
Yes.
that we don't quite hear ourselves. That'll be so interesting. What a project indeed as a family you can engage in. You're only 28 years old. You're still quite young. There's so much life ahead of you. What do you want to become? What is the next big thing for you?
That is, a question I'm still trying to figure out, honestly. This last year has been, very taxing, and there are moments where it still is in the hospital. It's obviously a lot better here. So it's been very hard to think of so far into the future. But I just got training on anesthesia machines, which I think should be really interesting for me. And there's always in my career, there's always so much more to learn, which, I want to see more women in my career. I want to see more people in my career because it's not very well known right now.
You went to school at the Combermere School. Is there anyone who you want to say good morning to from the Combermere, your experience at the Combermere School that would just say that, hey, look, Cheriann. Is there anyone in particular?
No, not well. There's so many teachers. I don't want to like pick just one. I don't. Don't want to like hurt anyone's feelings or anything.
Yes, yes. But somebody must have
But hi,
inspired you.
everyone.
Someone would have inspired you to follow the particular path that you're following at the moment as a biomedical engineer. So,
Mhm.
who could that have possibly been?
Well, it's funny the way that I found out about this degree was at an interview with BCC. I went to do my BCC interview, and a random person, one of the advisors, was like, "There's a new field coming up. It's called biomedical engineering. Maybe you'll be interested. You're a problem solver by nature, it seems." And I was like, "Sure." And I researched it, and I told my parents this is what I want to do, and they were very surprised. And it kind of I just took it and I ran with it, and it's been very rewarding for me ever since.
Oh, Cheriann, it has been so much fun talking to you. Honestly, I quite enjoyed talking to you, Cheriann Fanas, who is a Barbadian residing in New York. She is big up. She's on fixing ventilators and everything else, and came from Lowlands right there in Christchurch. Her parents are just beaming brightly this morning. We are so proud of you, Cheriann. Thank you for joining us as well. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. Cheriann Fanis right there, Barbadian, doing well, very well in New York. We're going to take a break here and we're coming back with more.